Hello everybody, this is my midweek mini fireside chat. I'm Pat Sloan. Welcome to my quilting neighborhood. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Appreciate you sewing along with all my things. So I wanted to do a little midweek sort of motivation recap, looking at why and how we do the things we do in quilt making, because some projects are fast and fun, fast and furious. You get in there, you slice and dice, you sew it up, and boom, the top's done. Other projects, like the one behind me, are not so fast. It could take you as long to do one block as it did to do a whole top in some cases, particularly if you're learning something new. This is the Splendid Sampler, and it's from book number 2, and these are my blocks that I'm making each week since we started the Splendid Sampler 2. The project, the Splendid Sampler, is one that I'm doing with my friend Jane Davidson, who's Australian, and we came up with this idea. I wanted to do a big project, and I knew that that would take more than one person to really manage it well, because it would be long term. Excuse me. So I contacted Jane a long time ago now. It's like almost 5 years ago. Time. And I said, I want to do this big community building project, something with a lot of other designers that we like and admire and want to work with. And would you like to work with me? And so Jane said yes. And I was thrilled. So we needed to come up with a plan, an idea, and Jane had been to an exhibit in Australia of very old quilts, and they were all made by multiple people. All the blocks in them were individual blocks that were given to make the quilt a whole by many quilt makers. And we just sort of went, bingo, that's it. We want to do a huge sampler and invite a large group of designers. It turns out we invited 80 for book 1 and book 2. We invited 80 other designers to design a block based on themes and thoughts about how they feel about their quilt making, their life, and put them into these wonderful sampler quilts. We did not give them any restrictions except the size of the block. So the size of the block is 6-inch finish, 6.5, and we asked them to design in their signature style, and it's been phenomenal. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of people in our community at Facebook, which is called The Splendid Sampler. Our website's The Splendid Sampler. If you're here on my blog reading this, it's because it's Splendid Sampler Day, and we've been assigning blocks. It's a big project. It's a long project. The things take a little while to do. Many blocks are simple. They're very fast, and many blocks are not fast. So it's a balance of what you do, and people feel like they get behind. That's it came up in our group the other day. Somebody was feeling, oh, they're behind. And then, of course, a whole bunch of other people were like, so am I. So I wrote about sort of my thoughts about how you approach a project like this. Because it's not a race. It's not a competition. We're going to be here a long time. The group will be open. We are signing blocks from the book. You have the book, the blocks are in the book, but we're telling you which blocks, and we committed to a 1 year to do that with the design team that we have. And 1 year is a long time because they all started with us about 6 months prior to that, knowing that this was going to go on. So that's a long time for people to wait for their day to show up. And they're a marvelous team. They're all so patient, Everybody's like, their days could be like a year from when they first sent the block to us. So in order to do that, that means we're assigning more than one a day, and we have sort of a scavenger hunt. You go over and see the designer's website, and it's a lot of fun. But because we're assigning we're introducing you really to 4 different designers each week, people have gotten put pressure on themselves only to do all 4 blocks that week. And some people love that kind of thing. They love it. They love that goal, that deadline. I'm going to do these 4 blocks. They have the time, and they have the commitment and they don't want to stretch it out any longer. And that's fabulous. But then there's a larger percentage of us that's just not doable. You have other things you have to work on, you have other commitments that have to be done, and your allotted time to it might be much less. Like one lady I thought she had a brilliant idea. She says, I work on this project 1 day a week. And then another day a week she works on a different project, so that she knows that on that day, that's the project she works on. How much she gets done is how much she gets done, which I think is sort of a fabulous way of doing it. And somebody else unfortunately had an injury, and so were laid up and ended up doing a lot of things at once, but knew that that time would come to an end. So they took advantage of it. They were like, okay, let's make, lemonade out of those lemons. For Jane and I, we did book 1 backed up right away by book 2. So we've been running on this for 5 years, boom, boom, boom. It's a lot of work to put together and organize, and we love it. It's so much fun. But that means that making our own individual quilts has been a challenge. Book 1, I made a lot of the blocks, but I never set them, and I never made all of them. So I committed to myself for book 2 that I would make all the blocks. But I do a lot of other things. And so, like the lady who does it once a week, I kind of do once a week myself. I hadn't really thought about it that way, but, that's the day that I work on the block. However much I can get done. Maybe I get 2 blocks done because they're easy or not. So today, one of the blocks that we're assigning is mine. Jane and I both made, I forget how many, 10 blocks each for the book. And today, mine is an embroidery block, and you can see I'm not done. So this is my embroidery for this week that I'm in progress with, and it is going to go, here I'll scoot over, it is going to go and be added to my Splendid Sampler. I'm primarily using fabrics from French General it's a line, a company, French General, and Moda Fabrics, Prince French General. French General is Carrie Mang is the owner, designer. She also has a shop in California. She's incredible. She runs events in France, and so I love working with her fabric. It has a vintage feel. It's soft, and I love that sort of vintagey red and grays and little pops of blue. So that is what I'm doing. I'm using a setting from book 1. So these blocks are book 2. My personal goal, let's see if I actually make it, but my personal goal is by the end of this year, 2019, I will have all the blocks done. Now, in our Splendid Sampler group, we will continue sewing together. I will continue every week to be showing you a block that I made, and if you haven't made it yet, make it. If you haven't made another one, make that. If you want to keep sewing together. This is the kind of thing, it's a journey. It doesn't happen all at once. It can't happen super fast for most people. It can for some. Some people have actually finished book 2. There's a few quilts already, the whole thing. Lots of people have finished book 1 Splendid Sampler, but they're just finishing it. They didn't finish it in the 1 year we did the year long, so long for that one. We didn't anticipate that this would be something that would just end. We anticipated it as a community, and that people are buying the book, they're just starting. They haven't made a block yet. They just found the book, they're just starting, they're coming to the community. So I'm hoping that we can shift this over to foster community now, that instead of it feeling like it's a race, I've got to do a block, instead, you're in a community that's making the same quilt. You meet friends, you become friends. You may see one at a show and share a picture. Somebody did that. They took a picture at a show and shared it in the group, and the group member, the maker is in the group. Sorry about the cough. It's the weather. So I just wanted to really encourage you, if you're making the Splendid Sampler, if you've started, fabulous. Keep working on it. Enjoy it. Enjoy the process. Enjoy making each block, making friends, talking to people in the group. If you've not started yet, find a simple block and just get in there. Find one with a technique you love. Let's say you love embroidery. There's a few embroidery blocks. This one is mine. It's very simple. Richie's we just had recently, and his is wonderful because it's applique and embroidery, so there's not as much embroidery. Now, if you want to do Nikki's is Turvo's is much more complex. You know, it has a lot more detail to it. But if you're already a avid embroiderer, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous block. So that would be like a, you know, if you want to do paper piecing because you love paper piecing, there's tons of paper piecing. There's very simple patchwork blocks, very simple applique blocks, and more complex applique blocks. So there's this huge range. If you're just starting, pick something. If you have made a few and had to go do other things, and now you want to come back and get it started again, go in and find an easy one, because that's the best way to start. The other way that I hear people sort of have to make a different approach. Occasionally somebody says, I started these colors and I don't care for them now. So I need to start over. So when you want to start over, find a simple block and do it in the fabrics you want to use now, the new start over fabrics. So you can see if you really do like that color combination, how it feels, how it looks together. Does it make you happy when you're making them? It should make you happy when you're making this quilt. You should feel happy with every block. You're like, yes, I want to get in there and find just the right fabrics. So this is a kind of like, you know, like a pep talk, right? I feel like, okay, quilters, you know, get rid of all of that mental stuff that holds you back from doing things that you really like, and just enjoy the process. So I'm thrilled that you're here. I'm thrilled that you are watching and are sewing along. And just know that the community is there and will be there. So, you know, that's what it's all about. Thanks, and I will see you at the Splendid Sampler Facebook group. Talk to you later.